Thank you for tuning into my channel. This is the October question and answer video for 2021. So if you want to see some of my answers to your questions, please stay tuned. I'm really excited to share this month's question and answer, or Q&A. I did not do one for September. Instead, that turned into a free fabric haul. So I have a few questions that you guys have asked me, and I want to answer them on camera for you right now. I want to remind you that I'm going all the way to 10K subscribers. So if you are not a subscriber to my channel, go ahead and click my picture right there, and it will subscribe you to my channel, and you will be notified whenever I release a new video. I typically release 3 videos a week, and I love for you to be a part of that process. Thank you so much in advance for helping me reach my goal. Now, for this month's question and answer, there are, I think, about 12 questions. I will answer them as quickly and efficiently as I can, and also try to be as thorough as I can. Here we go. Here's question 1. Question 1 is about laying out the waves pattern from the Drunkard's Path quilt video. I'm going to put a quick little video of that right here, or just a little snippet so that you can see that pattern, and then I'm going to go over how you put it together. When it comes to making this waves pattern with the Drunkard's Path quilt block, it's really not challenging, but I went ahead and made little paper templates so I can show you how to put it together. I have 2 sets of stacks. The first stack is the large outer portion, has a color, and the corner is white or has a background, and then the other side is the opposite, and you want to have the same number of each type. So to create this wave, I'm going to start with this first set here, and I'm going to place them with the center, or I don't even know what to call it, but the little cutout, those parts are going to be touching, but I'm going to start with the one pointing out, and then the next 2 will be touching. Okay. And then the same thing, they'll be touching, but they're going to go the opposite way. Wait, no, they won't. Sorry. Same thing. Okay, with them touching. And I just have several different colors here to create a little variety. Okay, so, and then outer parts touching, and then the inner parts touching. And then on this top row, the last one is going to end with that little cutout part going to facing outside. So I have 8 blocks in a row. And then I'm going to do that same thing, but the blocks are going to face the other way. So, or the parts that are touching are going to be facing the other way. So on this block, the inside part, the little cutout, is going to turn up, and these first 2 are going to be touching. Okay, and then I do the same thing going all the way down. I hope this makes sense. In my head it makes sense, but I hope it makes sense on camera with what I'm saying. So, okay. And then for the last 2, they're down here on the end, like so. And this is what creates the wave, because the little cutouts touch. And then I'm going to create the exact same thing on the next row. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so the first set, the cutout is down. Okay, but it looks exactly like the top row. And each time the cutout section is touching. The cutout sections are touching. Okay. And then with this last set I have, it's the exact same thing, but the cutout parts face upward, and you start with the opposite block. And so you get alternate colors of waves each time. And there you have it. And so now this one is the background wave, and this one is the color wave. Okay, and the trick is to make sure you have equal numbers of white cutouts and equal numbers of color cutouts. And that's it. Question 2 is, I have several that I'm going to answer right now. There are a couple of techniques that some people suggested that I film, and I haven't gotten to them yet, but I'm going to go ahead and list them here. Someone asked if I could do a video about how to tie a quilt, and the answer is yes, but I still need to learn how to do that, or to get more information about that. Another one is making a rag quilt with a flannel backing, baby size. I think that's an amazing idea, and I will definitely put that on my list of videos to make. I can't wait to see how that turns out. Let's see what else. Those are the 2 techniques that I have. Now we'll go to the next question. Someone asked if you could make the jewelry box quilt as a quilt as you go. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture of the jewelry box quilt here, and I'll put a link to that that quilt in the description. And I think I will go ahead and make a playlist. I'll make a note of that so that I can go back and do that, so that you can go to the playlist for this quilt. This was one of my recent projects, and it turned out really well. But they asked if you could do it as a quilt as you go, and I did answer this question directly to the person who asked, but I don't think that the jewelry box quilt could be a quilt as you go because of the way that it's cut. Basically, the way that you make this quilt is you piece the whole thing together, and then you make 2 diagonal cuts and rearrange the pieces and put them back together. So to try it as a quilt as you go, I think would be pretty challenging because of the way that you have to put everything together. But that doesn't mean it can't be done. It would just mean that you would have to really consider that before you start it. Next question. Someone asked if I would show a quilt as you go from start to finish without the sashing. And I've already done that in my T-shirt quilt playlist. I think I called it, I think that one's just the T-shirt quilt playlist. I'll link it in the description box below. But I am going to do another quilt as you go from start to finish using some of these blocks that I've already made. So these are the blocks that I've been working on. They're already quilted, and I'm going to put them together without sashing. Right now I have 5 completed blocks, but I'm going to work towards getting 12 of them, and then we'll see if we can put this whole thing together without the sashing. So thank you so much for that idea. I can't wait to try it out and show you how it's done on video. But you can also check out the T-shirt quilt playlist, because in that one I show how to put the blocks together without the sashing as well. So here's what's next. Um, there are two questions about how I treat fabric and how I treat my quilts. So the first one is, do I wash my fabric before I use them in a quilt? And my answer is no, I do not wash my fabrics beforehand. When I first started quilting, I had this book by Fons and Porter, and it was very strict about washing fabrics, but that was in the early 2000s, and I don't think that's really a thing. At least for me, it's not. But if you choose to wash your fabrics beforehand, I think that's great. I'm not sure about washing pre-cuts. So if I had yardage, I would probably, if I washed my fabric, I would wash the yardage, but I don't think I would wash the pre-cuts because I don't know what would happen to the edges, if they would fray, or if something weird would happen to them while they're in the wash. Another question is, do I block my quilts before binding them? And my understanding is blocking a quilt is where you make sure that that it's perfectly square, like you would measure the diagonals, and then make sure that the diagonals were the same length and all that stuff. And then there's a special way that you what special things that you do with the quilt to make sure to stretch it or whatever. Right now, I do not block my quilts before I bind them. However, after I went to the Georgia National Fair and saw all the quilts, if I wanted to enter one competitively, I might start blocking them. But as of right now, that's not a thing that I do. Excuse me. I think that it's very important if you want to be sure that your quilt is perfectly rectangular or perfectly square. Right now, I'm not doing that, but it could be something that I add to my repertoire in the future. Next question is about entering my quilts into the Georgia National Fair. I did enter the quilts. I will put a couple of pictures of me in the video here. I've already shared this on another video, but I think it's important to go over it again, mainly because I did win a ribbon. I got the Quilter's Choice ribbon for my magic quilt, and after doing a little bit of research, I found out that means that it was one of the judges' favorite quilt. Not Quilter's Choice, Judge's Choice. I'm sorry, I messed that up. Okay, so it was one of the judges' favorite quilt. And so I have a beautiful ribbon. I'm still waiting to get my my quilt back from the fair. I haven't gotten the email that they've taken it back to the quilt shop. So as soon as I get it, I will definitely show it like in person in my hand on a video. Thank you so much for asking about my quilts. Next question. Do I label all of my items? I label all of my quilts right now. I usually put my name, the name of the quilt. I usually put what quilt pattern it is. So let me see. I should have an example around here, but I don't. So like if it is if it's a log cabin quilt, I'll put whatever the name is that I decided, and then log cabin in parentheses, and then I put the date that I finished it. And I usually put designed, pieced, and quilted by Erica Selman, because I usually design them and piece them and quilt them. So, but if it was a different pattern, I would list that information as well. So I do label my quilts. At this time, I'm not labeling my bears. Sometimes they're going to little people, and I don't want to have anything that can peel off of them, like peel off of the bear. So, but I am working on making a label for my bears as well, and my pillows. Let's see, next question. What do I do with the fabric that I don't want? Well, what I did at first was I just put it in my donation basket, and I would donate it to a local charity. However, once I put out on YouTube that there was fabric that I didn't want, I've actually gotten a couple of offers. One was for a fabric exchange, so I'm going to send them some fabric and they're sending me some fabric. And then one person paid the shipping and I sent them the fabric. So if there's something that you're interested in and you hear me say that it's not my favorite or that I don't want it and you're interested in it, please let me know in the comments so that I can get it to you. I definitely want fabric. If I know somebody who wants it, I would prefer to give it to them. But what I try not to do is to keep it in the house if I've decided that I'm not going to use it, because then it just kind of takes up space. So again, if you're interested in some fabric that you see, let me know in the comments of any of those videos. I would love to get it to you. The next question. When I got my dressmaker machine service and my Singer Futura service, someone asked where I got them serviced. I think this person was, they're one state over from me. I don't know if it's Alabama or South Carolina. I don't remember. But the name of the company is the Singer Sewing Center in Athens, Georgia. And I took my machines there a couple of weeks ago. I used to take my Futura when I was doing embroidery. I would take it once a year and get it serviced. But I decided I had waited a few years, and so I took both machines to get them serviced. I felt like the price was very reasonable for what they needed to do, and I was able to get my machines back the same day. I took them in the morning, like as soon as they opened, and they called me about 4 hours later and were like, your machines are ready. And so I went back and picked them up the same day, which is very awesome. So I will, I'm not sure if they have a website, but I will put their the company information down in the description box. So if you're interested, you can check them out. If you're in Georgia and you need a machine service, they're very good. Next question. Someone asked about my t-shirt quilt and asked if I would send the link to the t-shirt quilt video. What I've done is I went back and I've created a playlist for that t-shirt quilt that I did during Vlogmas in July. If I can find a picture, I'll put it here in the video so that you can remember what that quilt looks like. I have I actually made 2 t-shirt quilt playlists. So one of them I think is just called T-shirt quilts, and that's the one that I made without the sashing. And so it's like T-shirt quilt as you go, T-shirt quilt, something like that. I'll put it here in the video so that you can see it. And then the second one from the Vlogmas in July, it's called T-shirt quilt along. And both of those links will be in the description box. So if you want to go check out either one of those T-shirt quilt playlists, I would love that. That would be awesome. And hopefully you can get some information that you can use to make your own t-shirt quilt. Now I have one more question, and that is about this sewing table here. Someone asked, where did I get this sewing table? And I'll show you. I made a video when I first got it, so I'll show you the table. I would show it to you now, but it's full of stuff. But there is a video where I talk about the sewing table, and I actually purchased it on Facebook Marketplace. But as I was looking at it to get ready for this video, I found some information about it. The brand is Arrow. It's an Arrow sewing cabinet, and I went to their website, and this is still there on their website. It's called the Gidget One, and on the website it shows pictures of the table, and it does fold completely flat, and it has this little leaf in the middle that you can let down and put your sewing machine in it, so it sits a little bit lower. This sewing table is really cool. I enjoy it. And I feel like based on the price that I saw online, I got a very good deal for this table, and I'm so happy that I have it in my little sewing studio. So if you check out arrowsewing.com, that's the website, and you check out the Gidget One, please let them know if you decide to make a purchase from them. Let them know that I told you about them, that you've learned about it from me on YouTube. That would be amazing if you just let them know that. And I don't know. That's it. If you have any other questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. What I'm going to do is compile all the questions and put them together for next month's Q&A for the end of November. So if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm so excited that I get to take time just to answer your specific questions, and it's a great pleasure for you to be a part of my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!